And we're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to About My Book Business with me, Deborah Mortimer, and Tresa Chambers. And we are here today with Barbara and Mike Gammage, the power couple behind Mike Writes for Kids, an award-winning publishing company that hails out of Greensboro, North Carolina. And they're going to talk to us today about everything about how they got started, about their wonderful book series that they've started, their business, their Kickstarter campaign. But first, as usual, Tresa and I are going to give you some updates on what's going on with us this week. What are some of our wins from last week, and what we're looking forward to on the horizon? So, you want to go first, Tresa?
All right, thanks. Hey, everybody. Great to see you all this week. Glad to be back. Let's see, what is going on? Well, personally, I'm just going to share. I just moved, and just moved into my place and just getting settled, really feeling my joy in relocating to South
Mhm.
Florida and being near the beach. So that's one thing. Second thing is that I just sent out an artist call, and that's visual artists and writers for my new greeting cards and stationery line. And so very excited to start getting those designs in. And the name, I told you all I'd give you a little preview. I'll share the logo later, but the company, it's called Mawu Greetings, MAWU, and the vision is that it is a culturally conscious, culturally inclusive greeting cards and stationery business. And so I am looking for great artists and writers who can contribute to the line. The first line is going to be focused on winter holidays. So look forward to sharing more, and feel free to reach out to me if you're interested in getting that information and submitting your art and your writing and being a part of the brand. That's what I'm really most excited about, and look forward to hearing from all of you on that, and would love your input. So that's what's up with me, Deb. Now I'll
That
pass it over
is
to you.
exciting. I completed my onboarding for my NASDAQ milestone circle last week. I know Teresa's also a part of it for women entrepreneurs. I'm very excited about that, what's coming with that. And I'm making headway with my SCORE mentor. If you are not part of the SBDC in your local area, you need to be, and get yourself a SCORE mentor to help you with whatever milestone that you want to achieve in your business. And then, of course, coming up, it's vending season. It's June, right? We start those outdoor vending events. So we have Juneteenth coming up. I'm going to be appearing at the Lehigh Valley Juneteenth Festival in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. That's on June 15th. And then I am one of the featured authors for the Barnes and Nobles in Lehigh Valley to kick off their reopening. So I have that. And then, of course, there's a slew of other events that I'm trying to get into this summer. So I'm really super excited about that. And I'm still working on book 4. And I have also things coming in the horizon for book 5. And still, Leap Forward Publishing is a hybrid publisher. So we're also looking for people who are aspiring authors who are looking to publish a book either under Leap Forward Publishing or their own imprint, because I do publishing consulting, or you could just call me to ask me a bunch of questions on how to get things done, how to produce a quality book. So those are the great things that we have going on. And finally, we can get to talk to Barbara and Mike. How are you both doing today?
Doing well, doing well.
Long day, right? Long day.
Ah,
Worked the full day, and now you got to answer questions. I know. I get it.
so right, so Barbara and Mike are they have a company that they're going to tell us about that is it's called, I'm going to get this wrong, Mike Writes Books, right?
Right. No, Mike
Right.
Writes for Kids.
Writes for Kids. I'm
He
sorry.
writes for
Mike
kids.
Writes for Kids,
Mike loves
and
kids.
Mike loves the kids. I
We love the
love
kids.
it. And so that's fantastic. So he's got his book out, and he's also the publisher. And then Barbara, as she said, is his plus one. But I think that there's so much more that we can learn about what that actually looks like. So we'd love to hear from you all about how you got started with your company, and tell us a little bit more about why you chose children's books.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll step up. Like you said, my name is Mike, and we first want to say thank you guys for having us. Before we
Yes.
get started,
Thank
We
you.
thank you both, Deb and Teresa, for having us. Super appreciative for this opportunity. And so to get back to your question, I tell everybody it was one of those things that like just God kind of laid on my heart. It wasn't anything that I like pre-planned or anything or was predestined. It was a couple years ago. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was actually reading the book Multiple Streams of Income, and in the book I found that actually writing a book was one of the best ways to start a secondary stream. And so in that, of course, I had to find what my niche was, what exactly I could sell over and over again with people actually believing in it, and things like that. And so fast forward, we were able to, God just kind of placed it on my head. I actually work from home now. I am a dental professional, a dental assistant by trade. I did step back and now I work at home. I work in the lab, work for LabCorp at the house, and I have my daughter here with me. She's 4 years old. We started since she was 2. So back in the pandemic, we didn't have daycare and things like that. And so she's been here with me since then. And so with me having to teach her every day, it was just one of those things that kind of came naturally to me. Just trying to figure out what I could do to not just teach her and make sure that she was well grounded and ready for
Excuse
time.
me.
You're fine. But also just making sure that I could find something that resonated with me and people could feel like they were not just buying the product, but purchasing or buying into us. So that was one of the things that kind of helped spark it. And then from there, the concept came to me, and then I brought it to her, and we were able to kind of collaborate. And we were like, oh, let's take it serious though. And so we kind of took the long approach. Was shopping around, trying to figure out whether I wanted to do it traditionally or self-publish. Actually, try to get some information on what those things mean. Because if you come into the game just green, you don't necessarily understand
Right.
the differences, you know what I mean, and the levels. And so
Yes.
those 10,000 hours trying to get some understanding and wrap my head around it, I understood that it would probably be better for me to take the self-publishing route because I would retain ownership as well as be able to produce the things that I'm looking for without having to like pay any upfront costs or things like that. Of course, there's fees and stuff, but we'll get into all that. But that's the gist of where it kind of came from.
Love that. Love that so much because a lot of people were looking for
Mm.
something to do during the pandemic. I mean, for all the awful that happened, there were so many beautiful things that came out of that period. And I think what you decided to do is something that I think a lot of people should model and, going forward, even beyond obviously past the pandemic. It's such a great idea and something that you can give to your kids and other people's children as well. So I love that you did that.
Thank you.
Yeah. My question is, what made you decide to, instead of just doing, because a lot of people in the pandemic decided to write a book, particularly a children's book, but a lot of them just did a one-off book and
Right.
just put it out there, whatever. But you've decided to turn it into a whole business. So
Yeah.
and even a series. So what made you decide to do that?
Yeah, so in that too, in the research, I found that writing one book is fine, but in order to leverage it and take it and build multiple streams out of that actual book, it's better to do a series. And
Mm.
so there, I kind of stepped back and figured out, okay, I had this idea, I've got this genie in my mind, drew out like his outfit and things like that, and I had a concept that I wanted to basically teach my kids about jobs that we don't always talk about. Like, say for instance, my job. Like I said, I'm a dental assistant, so most people don't understand that there's assistants, there's hygienists, and then there's doctors. And so that was kind of the premise I think that started it for me
Mhm.
to help them to understand, okay, that there's more to the actual practice than what meets the eye. You come in and you see me, of course, I'm a tall figure, so you automatically think I'm the doctor. And I mean, that's fine and all, but I don't want to take his position. He earned that position, right? And so
Right.
it was something that we wanted to make sure that kids understood. And so from there, we did start with the space book because every kid loves space, right? And so that's a fun way to start it. But then from there, we wanted to take that same concept and go into different fields and different industries. And so we'll get more into what's next. But, you know, essentially the same concept. We're going to roll with that and roll with the punches from there. For real.
I love this so much, Mike, for so many reasons. First of all, doing your research, I love that you did that because a lot of people step out there and they don't really do their research. Secondly, the whole idea of multiple streams of income and really thinking about your publishing a book as a business. Obviously, that's why we call this show about
Right.
my book business, right? It is about thinking about things like a business. The other thing is that I think, you know, I've talked about this several times already, but the idea of creating a series really does support that idea of having a business. And I was even sharing that as book packagers, which is one area of publishing, book packagers have sold multi thousands, like tens of thousands of books because they're a part of a series. And that's something that I've done in the past. I've worked on Goosebumps book series. And so I have that experience and perspective as well. But that's something that is really, really smart to do. And so I'm really, really intrigued about what you guys' vision is, because I love it. It's going to be, I mean, it's so, so smart. And I'm really interested in thinking about and learning more about how you develop your characters and the storyline that you chose to go with.
Yeah.
I was going to say because you
What-
with the series, you really set it up for a repeat customer, right? Because once everyone becomes so intrigued with your initial characters, they want to know what are they doing next, where are they going next, and so you get those repeat customers. And then the other question I had was,
Well, can you answer my
I don't
question?
remember. Did you wait? Did you ask? Wait, did you ask a question? Or did you make a statement? I'm sorry. I thought you made a I thought you made a statement, but I wanted to make a point.
I know. Yes, I know.
I just wanted to say that I was reading your reviews. I know. We're not going to say how old we are.
I'm interested in hearing about your character development.
I do want to hear about the characters,
Yeah.
but I
All
love
right,
the
so can we
reviews
hear about that
you got.
first?
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right.
Thank
Okay. Go ahead. This is what we do.
Love it. Love it.
This is what we do. Because I have a stream of consciousness and I have to rein it in. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'll remember it. Go ahead.
To answer that question, it's actually a really good question because so when we initially started, we actually had a different trajectory than where we're going right now. We had an idea of changing out genies and keeping the same characters, or actually maybe even changing the characters and things like that. But the good thing about it, and we always encourage everyone to follow the professional process. We did reach out through Reedsy and had a professional editor. And so bringing it to her, she was letting us know that when it comes to series, like you were saying, people actually have an affinity. They grow an affinity towards the characters that they're initially introduced to. And so they want to keep up with them, like you said, to see where they're going and things like that. And so that was something that we edited and went back to the drawing board to make sure that we incorporate this in the next story and the stories to come, the same characters, the same main characters anyway.
Yes.
And
Excellent.
but the characters are also our kids. The two kids, not the genie, but the two main characters are our kids.
Maya and Caleb.
We use those for reference pictures and everything. We changed their names for confidentiality and stuff like that. But those are them.
Yes.
I was wondering that when I read it. But okay, so I do remember. Do you remember what I was going to say? I love the comment on your website that it's like the magic school bus for Black kids.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, I love that because when I read it, I was like, yeah, it is kind of like that. He's transporting you to these different places to learn these different things. So it did give me that magic school bus kind of feel. But I was wondering whether it was the kids, if it was your kids. I love that.
And then that's also something that I actually have a few of their books here, and I studied them because I wanted to have a semblance with that, have that same concept and have the same vibe. And so for someone to basically feel that way and notice it, and you as well, giving it that credence. So it does make me feel good because it lets me know that the study and then the hard work that we did is showing up.
That's
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about how you guys started with the business and the whole Kickstarter campaign idea.
I know, man. So Kickstarter was fun. It was fun, but I'm actually like, Lord Jesus. So
A lot of people want to do, a lot of people have been told that Kickstarter is the way to get started to self-fund your projects. So, and you see all these fun challenges and things like that, but tell us what the real deal is.
Yeah.
It was as grueling as it was. I wouldn't take it back for anything because it's made us into who we are today. As far as I guess people consider us like master marketers or whatever. So, and it's essentially where it came from. We needed the money, and so I was calling around trying to figure out different ways. And this was during the research time where I was trying to figure out whether I want to go traditional or self-publish, and I ended up figuring okay, self-publish. And then I wanted to figure out how could I fund it? How could I raise this money to get things going? And I actually have reached out to a friend of mine, Keontae, and she was telling me, it sounds like you've got all your ducks in a row. I spoke to her about the full publishing process altogether. But everything she was telling me, I pretty much had it except for the funds. And so she was like, it sounds like you just need to crowdfund. And so it's, initially, most of us are always familiar with GoFundMe. And GoFundMe kind of has a negative connotation in the community because it seems like you're begging. And so I didn't want to beg, essentially, basically. So she was introducing me to Kickstarter. She was like, you can kind of set it up to where you have tiers set up for those who support you. So if you pledge $10, you can get something back in a digital form. And we ended up setting the tiers $10, $25, $50, up to about 150 plus. And the top packages we were able to actually, and this is where she was actually came in as far as the marketing, because she did come up with the hats. She was like, that logo, if you put it on a snapback, it's gonna go. It's gonna cause the attention that it needs. People are gonna want to know what that is, things like that. And she was like, put it on some T-shirts and things. So we ended up, we ended up getting stickers, bubbles, glow in the dark stickers. We made some bookmarks, and those were all a part of the packages. The higher you go, the more books you can get. You can get up to the highest one. You can get some merch like the T-shirts and things like that.
And we also had an idea on there too, where a lot of people, if they don't have children, well, we said you can donate it to us and we'll send it to a library, or we'll donate to a daycare or so. So it didn't just go unnoticed, or you just didn't just blindly just donate your money. Ultimately, we want to believe in what we're doing and believe in this project because we want it to be long lasting, but we also wanted to reach the children. That's the point, the whole point behind it.
Right.
Money will come. That's not the purpose of Mike Writes for Kids. Right. It's literally for the kids. We want this to be a foundation first. So
I love that. That's really great. So when you're thinking about your Kickstarter and the funds that you raise, how much did you raise enough? Did you hit your goal? And how do you envision going forward? Because it's not cheap to make more books either. So how are your sales? How do you intend to make more money now?
That's a good question. So actually, we had a goal set for 5,000, and we set it open for a month. And the thing about Kickstarter is it's all or nothing. So if you don't get the money in the time that you have set, then the money doesn't even draw from their accounts until the end. And you have to make the goal in order for it to actually come to you. And so we were to reach our goal in 2 weeks, and then we exceeded it in a month.
Wow.
Ended up getting about 62
Wow.
total.
That's great.
Amazing. The question I have is, okay, so you set up, because I saw your Kickstarter campaign and it was pretty good. But here's the question: how did you get the word out? Because I see some people who are not successful in their Kickstarter. They have a fabulous campaign, but the issue was that nobody really saw it, or they weren't able to get enough people to see it to donate. So how did you do that? What ways did you promote it?
So we actually took multiple marketing strategies, to be honest. We did digital marketing. So social media marketing was our main campaign. Shout out to a lot of our friends and family. They helped spread the word, shared posts and things like that. And a lot of it had to do with foot on the ground, to be honest. We actually went. I went to. It's a short story. Miss Tab ended up coming down here to Greensboro once, and so I was at the house like, yo, this is live right now. I need to go out here, and it actually wasn't live yet. And so, makes long story short, I went out there. I went to like FedEx. I went to Canva, put some kind of graphic together with my QR code and all the information and things like that. Went to FedEx, printed it on a big poster board, and I was just out there like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
It was the first way we got some traction from people that we didn't know, and so that gave us the confidence, from people wanting to actually follow and things like that. To like, okay, well, we can do this, And so from there, we, we just kind of mass market, put the stuff out there. And one thing that we did find that email lists work well. So definitely. To those who are watching, don't look to just promote through social media. If you're promoting through social media, and I also was watching your last episode, and I noticed that that was one of the things that you were saying well. And so, just double down on that. Definitely don't rely just on social media. Also, make sure that you're gathering emails. You're creating a website so that way people have a landing page so they can see that. And importantly, you just have to keep putting it out there. People have to see things in 7 different ways from what I was found in research. Right. In order for them to actually want to, actually spend the money with you. And so just making sure that we put those emails out there constantly, put those posts out there. We kept blasting. It was a tag team thing. We created a business page. We created Facebook shut down my page too.
I remember that. I remember that.
What happened? Tell us about that. Why did they shut down your page?
Right when that happened, I went and I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I was at work and I'm like, I have this bucket. Word of mouth, you got to get out there. You got to tell people they don't know you. They don't know. We're actually kind of new to Greensboro.
Right.
So most of our support is in Myrtle Beach. Originally from Buffalo, New York. So Buffalo, New York. And then, Jersey is where he's originally from. So from Newark, New Jersey. So all of our main help was there. So we had to really build a brand and really build recognition here. So just getting out there, just telling people, what we're about and getting out there. That type of stuff is not dead. It's not old. Yeah. Passing out cards, business cards and things, and getting out there, people looking at me like, well, are you the author? And I'm like, no, but my husband is. So and,
that's awesome. Yeah. And I'm sure having the kids tag along with you as well help you because you're connecting with your community in that way, right?
And it was good too for them to give them that first sense of marketing, to understand that you're going to get a lot of rejection too, but it gave them the sense because then we had the business cards and we had things like that we were giving out, and so it was just good, that we would take them to the ground and they would, hey, Dad, can I get a card? I want to give it to them. You know what I mean? So it was really a fun time, to be honest.
I like your kids. I could borrow them. I could use them on my team.
Hey,
so many people hate marketing. I'm like, oh yes, start them early.
All she gonna do is go and be like, yes, here.
I know. They're the biggest supporters. No, every time they see like my logo or something, they're always like, Mike Grace for kids. So so funny too. Also, before we move on from Kickstarter, I want to give a big Tiffany Simmons.
Yes.
Tiffany is she's another author that I met through this process. Actually reaching out, I found a crowdfunding coach who directed me to. Actually, I've met up with Kim Lee.
Yes.
I think you had an interview with Kim. Did you?
Kim C. Lee.
Kim C. Lee, right?
Yeah, that was on my Instagram that we had a live talking. Yeah.
Yeah, she actually opened the doors for me to meet a lot of different authors.
She's amazing.
And Tiffany was one of them. And she actually, she did Kickstarter last year. I think there was about 18,000. And she was really successful with it, really successful. And so she gave me some tips because so I'm going to make a long story short again. We actually ran into a flood last year. Our apartment got flooded, and this
Mm.
before we opened the Kickstarter. And so we were on vacation, and we was like, you know what, we're not going to let that hold us back. And we opened up the Kickstarter a month early. And before I opened it, Tiffany was like, if you can just change these things around. And those things like took it to the next level. I went completely against the grain. I didn't know you weren't supposed to open a crowdfunding, or I should say, weekends are bad times to open a crowdfunding. You actually should start on maybe like a Tuesday or Thursday,
Mm.
Saturday. But we made like a couple $1,000s the first weekend, and so it was like completely against the grain, but it was all God. He was guiding it, and he allowed people to support, and so I'm just really grateful for that.
That was the
That's
other thing I was
awesome. So here's a question. You said a crowdfunding coach. I didn't even know that was a thing. So
I was about
you're
to ask that
schooling
question.
us, right? So tell us about that. How did you find a crowdfunding coach?
Yeah, so actually just researching, and I think someone pointed me to her, but when I got to her, she was actually like, you don't need any of my help right at this point. You already have your page ready, you've got followers, you've got some support and things like that. So she was just more confidence builder for me to let me know like everything that I'm doing is good. And then she just redirected me back to Tiffany and was like, you can also maybe collaborate with her, and she can help give you some ideas and things. And so, but I believe her name is Lisa Ferdinand. But yeah, she's amazing. She's really good. She's really good.
I love it. Well, now you guys can be my crowdfunding coach. I think I might need some for my business
Right?
too. What passive? Pay it forward, baby. Pay it forward.
That's right.
That's awesome.
All right, so I got a question. How do you balance it all? Like
Uh,
how do you balance it all? You have your jobs, you
yeah.
have this business that you're this empire that you're building, and you have two amazing kids. How?
I
How do you
mean, fun.
You got more hours in the day than I do? I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
No, I mean, like all the other stuff is just like a part of who we are. So like the jobs and the kids and all that stuff, that's stuff that we was gonna do anyway. So then adding the books in is kind of fun because they can actually help. And so we don't really, I don't really look at the book business as like a job. It's something that I do like, you know what I mean? While most people are scrolling, I'm probably in Canva building up a graphic, or my brother-in-law was like, "Yo, I see you over there." We're at a cookout, and I'm just on my phone. You know what I mean? Building up stuff in Canva. Like it's really just fun. So I just try to make sure like I don't waste too much of my time, and it's actually something that's good for me because I was already the type of person I don't like wasting a whole lot of time. Like my friends get on me because I don't have a bunch of video games. I buy video games for my son, but I don't play them like that anymore. But it's just one of those things now.
What?
And
You have a husband that doesn't play video games? What?
I don't like. I don't. I mean, I'm behind, so it's like every time I try to get the person to get it, I don't want to be on there and then be lame with it or not good. So I just like, what, I'll leave it to the kids and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things where it's actually helpful to me because it allows me to get locked back in and make sure that I'm not wasting too much of my time. We do have a lot of distractions in today's world where and especially on our phones, where we can just get distracted and we waste an hour or two, you know what I mean, of our free time. But with having kids, we don't have the luxury of wasting time. And so it's just one of those things where, I just try to spend those couple hours that I got for free to, hey, make some money in the long term, really. That's what I'm
Yeah. Well, you said something that was interesting because you were talking about doing work on Canva, and I know that you have the editor, you hired an illustrator, but I remember in just talking with you personally that you mentioned something about formatting. So what do you do yourself?
Yeah, so I do pretty much everything outside of editing and illustrating. Shout out to Kim because she actually taught me how to use Adobe to format. She gave me a generic layout when I first had when we first had the first book, and I ran into an issue where, so with Kickstarter, we set a date for release, and the release date was January, but it was getting close to like November, December, and I didn't want to like be late on delivery. And so we started reaching out, and like I said, shout out to Kim. She was actually willing to sit down with me a couple times to like show me the ropes of Adobe. And so from there, I do all the formatting and things like that. And so we write the story, we send it to the editor, and then from there, once we finish with her, we send it to the illustrator, and then from there, I take the images and put it in Adobe, and then excuse me, my dog is just.
I was gonna say you got a dog too, huh?
No worries. On top of it.
A lot going on. That is amazing. So, you were willing to dive in and learn the technology that you needed to learn. That was something that I was going to ask about. It's like, what was your tech quotient beforehand? And it sounds like you've accumulated a lot of skills, but was that easy for you, or was that something that just took a lot of time, or was it a steep learning curve?
So say it wasn't hard. It's just time consuming, really. Especially once Kim showed me the ropes of formatting, she showed me the things that I need to do, and then also too for the things that I didn't learn from her. We have ChatGPT now, and so also just speaking to the people who are watching, definitely tap into those things. I know it's like either hit or miss, and it's kind of scary, but it's actually not as scary as you may think, because ChatGPT will be as smart as you are. So whatever you prompt it, whatever you ask it, it will give you an answer for that. And of course, you have to fact check it and things, but it is pretty knowledgeable. So I would go to it sometimes and be like, oh, how can I do whatever in Adobe, and it would tell me. And so I also use that as another sense, like an assistant, really, to kind of help me when I'm running low on ideas, or I just how we hit writer's block sometimes, and you want to throw something at the wall. I use ChatGPT a lot too.
So tell us about what your plans are for the future. How frequently do you plan to publish, and what can we look for next?
Okay, you ready?
Ready?
Oh, wait, we got a big announcement. What's going on?
I know, we got something breaking news here.
Yeah. World premiere. No, so the next book is actually is in production right now. We're actually going back and forth with the editor. We have the sketches done, and now I'm not the editor, excuse me, illustrator. And she is working on the color for those for the next book. The Dreamlighters will be putting out a fire next. And I am not the author of this one, actually. We're letting Barbara take the reins.
Oh, all right.
I love it.
Yes.
And all right.
I know a lot of people wonder, like, you just gave her the story. No, I'm gonna let it know now. She actually put in her own research for it. She actually used to work at a fire department when she got out of high school, and so it was like it was one of those things where it was meant to be. So yeah, she's putting in the work on it, and I just can't wait for everybody to see.
That is so exciting! Congratulations. How are you feeling about that process, Barbara?
It's amazing. After witnessing everything that Mike did to get it to where it's at, and I definitely give like a lot of big props. I know people are like, oh, that's your husband, but it's like, no, this is my best friend. Outside of us being married, that's my homie, and just seeing the whole process of where he took it, of course, with my help, but just seeing the machine. I call him the machine. Work, get it to where it needs to be, as well as getting everything trademarked, and we had to not only just write this book, but we also were building our brand, and it was amazing ride. So now seeing him being the true publisher and allowing me to come out and tell my story, and also being able to get insight from an award-winning author,
Right.
Yes.
So that was amazing, and getting some knowledge from somebody that's already highly educated and skilled in it. I didn't have to go too far, of course, from where I need to go to get my story out, and then just having him to be able to, okay, I see what you're saying, you're putting everything on the paper, but okay, it was green like how his was in the beginning, but he was able to like reel me back in and be like, okay, let's get it like this, let's do it like this, and then it came out to this masterpiece, I believe, of getting it out. But yeah, it was amazing. He didn't even realize, to be honest, and I almost forgot myself, that I actually worked for the fire commissioner in Buffalo, New York when I was 16. I was the administrative assistant, and I totally forgot. I was just going through like all my different resumes and things, because he said you worked so many different jobs in this lifetime so far. So so I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I worked there. He was like, well, you should be the one that's writing Put Out a Fire. So I said, okay. And then
they give me a break.
Yeah, go break. You know, people tired of it. And you know, just another aspect to show in our household as well, gender roles. You know, daddy can do it, but mommy can do it as well. You know, we definitely, you know, big up our men, but we also have us women, you know, that's also get out to do it. I did somebody put out a book recent, and it was what does it say? Girls can be firefighters too. That looks really amazing. We need to get that book. But of course, you know, we want to install this type of stuff into our daughter as well, to say you can reach those same heights, you can do those things as well. So it was just an amazing process though to get there though.
I think it's going to be amazing when you start doing like author visits together. Seeing the duo together, working together, and he's showing your books, I think that's going to be very empowering for children to see.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
That's the whole, like, one of the main process behind it. We just want to show like those core values, you know, and that genuineness to all the children out there. You know, not everybody come from a loving home. Not everybody are you know, getting the literacy reading is fundamental. I know it sounds corny, but it really is. You know, it starts with the basic arithmetic, and those were things that we instilled in them early. You know, our 4-year-old, she can read Llama Llama Red Pajama by herself. She's can read over 250 sight words, maybe more now. She knows the word meteorology. She knows what it means. You know, she know what it means. She know how to say it. It's just those things that I feel like we need to get to, because if you can't read, you can't write, you can't write, you can't read, then how do we get to these contracts? How do you get to, I know you want to be the next Beyonce, which is amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. But how do you get to these jobs or these things? And you got to know these contracts. You got to know what you're signing. You got to know, you know, those main core values. So that's what we're trying to get back out there, to just show them that, hey, you can reach those heights, but you can't skip levels. You know, you can't skip steps. You got to put the 10,000 hours in. So
I love that. I love that so much. I love the bigger vision that you all have. So, we're going to wrap up, but before we do, where can we find you all? And tell us if there's anything else that where we should be looking for you, or anything else you want us to know before we wind down.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So definitely follow our at Mike Writes for Kids page. Mike Writes for Kids. That's 4 spelled out. You can also subscribe to MikeWritesForKids.com. That way we can have your email information and be able to let you know of things. Because like we said, having an email is a lot more important than just following us on Instagram, because we do send out subscriber only promotions and things like that. We just ended one for May. We also, it's just better to have that information so we can send it right to you, let you know. Mike Writes for Kids on actually TikTok, as well as MikeWritesForKids.com.
Love it. Love it. All right. I'm going to add the website here just so folks can grab it, and they can.
Can you tell us when Barbara's book is coming out?
So we don't have a date yet. But yeah, I wanted to make sure this time we had like a actual book ready first before we put it out there. So that way we don't have to like feel rushed like we did last time. And so we're taking it a little bit more this time.
Good.
It costs us a lot of money this time too. So.
Yeah, and you're the publisher, so it's your job
Yeah.
to get the money. So
Yeah, you're veterans now. You're veterans. Veterans now.
Now you have
You
more
know.
time to do that because Barbara's writing the book. It's Barbara's turn. So yeah, you get the money.
Right. So you're the CMO this time around. You have to, yeah, you're the CMO.
And also, a lot of it, we're spreading things out, right? So to give Deb some credit, she is our trademark attorney, and so
Yes. Whoop, whoop.
shout
Oh
out.
yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
we actually did update the information today. We are officially filed for trademarking for Mike Rice for Kids. So we do have that TM up there, and
Yeah.
so these are all things that we're working on right now. So we're spreading things out. We're working on things here and there. But once we do, once I'm at a point where I can trust that we'll be able to deliver books at the release date, then I'll go ahead and set a date, and we'll probably start a pre-order process similar to the Kickstarter, because Kickstarter was allowing us to do a pre-order process, but we're not going to do it this time just because it's a lot of headache, and we're actually mostly done with the process because Kickstarter covered a lot of the foundational costs like copywriting and a lot of other things. But this time, once you do it, you realize it's a lot easier. Granted, you can go without doing some things, and so we'll once we got it ready, we'll let everybody know.
But we will be revisiting Kickstarter for a different project, but we're not gonna say it quite yet. But we're not gonna throw away Kickstarter. Kickstarter is amazing for all different reasons, but just for this next book, it was just kind of like, okay, let's give it a breather, let it breathe, and we just hope that y'all like it.
You might even think about your own Kickstarter consultant since you were so successful. You could probably.
I'm very serious.
Yeah. And there's always, okay, she's over this way. Yeah. There's always Tresa to get tips on because she's a big proponent for pre-orders, and she's really great at helping you launch the book way before it even launches. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. We want to make sure because do some things on the background first, so that way we have some things ready and available when it's available. Just taking those learning steps. But yeah, definitely stay tuned. Follow us at Mike Rice for Kids on everything, MikeRiceForKids.com. And appreciate it again. I just want to say thank y'all so much for having us. For sure.
Yeah, definitely. And
thank
now Barbara
you all so much.
Now Barbara writes for kids too.
All right.
Yes, I see another trademark.
Curl all the way.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us
you so
today.
much.
And thanks so much, everybody, for watching About My Book Business. Join us the next time, next Tuesday, 6 p.m., live here on LinkedIn. And you can catch the replay because I know there's a lot of stuff that you all want to revisit that Barbara and Mike shared. And you can catch the replay on YouTube. So check us out there, too. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks. All right.